Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Friday, normally Friday afternoon session together. This week, I am coming on a little bit early because I have a meeting after lunch and it's going to take up most of the afternoon. And so it would be getting late and I'd be getting tired. And so I thought, well, we'll just do this in the morning. So I apologize for you never knowing what time I'm going to show up. And I do try to keep it to Fridays, and sometimes that's not even possible. But this is our weekly session with Phillip, and we have a question this week. It's continuing the soulmate, and this is specifically about twin souls. And this is our sixth video of the year, 2021, and this is for February the 7th to the 13th. Well, hello, Wendy. You found me, and good morning. Yes. And see, I have to have my calendar here. Isn't that a beautiful picture? I have to have my calendar to know the date. So it's February the 7th to the 13th. And so good to see you, Wendy. I didn't know that anybody would come on live, so I'm glad to find out I'm not alone here. Okay. We're going to also, for those of you who are new, and I welcome all of you, we do get a message from one of my books. This is the Master's Book of Answers by Phillip, who is my personal guide. And I say my personal guide because he's my guide, but also people who work with me often work with Phillip as well. So we all come from the same place, don't we? All right. We just do this. We just open to any page after we get our message, to get this message, and we'll get to that in just a few minutes here. But let's get right into our information about soulmates and specifically twin souls. And I just want to say, I hope you all are staying healthy and doing well. We'll get through this pandemic wherever we are in the world. And I am really happy and excited for those of you down under in Australia and New Zealand, because that's wonderful. You guys are doing so much better than we are here in the States, but hopefully we're going to catch up with you and all get our vaccines and all wear our mask and all social distance and do all the right things. And hopefully we'll eventually, everything will get better in the US as well. I think we're on the curve of that, but not quite yet. All right. So here's our question. And it comes from our video on soul contracts that I'm sure you've already seen. If not, please go back and just the information below always tells you what the video is going to be about. So just check that out. The writer asked for more information on soul contracts as they pertain to twin flames and more on soulmates. And here's Phillip answered. Previously, we discussed your soul family. Now, Phillip always, if you can imagine Phillip as the taskmaster teacher with a sense of humor, you'll get Phillip. So this is the taskmaster teacher speaking here. Previously, we discussed your soul family. We also discussed soulmates, so we will not repeat the information except to say that soulmates come into our lives for what we consider better or worse to help us grow. That said, we shall now move on to twin souls. By the way, I love your questions because I always learn something, as I did in this particular conversation as well. Much has been written about this from a romantic viewpoint. As we said, with the information on soulmates, the romantic notion is a modern day fantasy. Or fancy, he says, not fantasy. Fancy, a modern day fancy. Of course, wherever did that word come from? Fancy, a modern day fancy. Okay. Of course, twin souls were written about long before this current century. Your philosopher Plato wrote of twin souls. Let us go back before Plato. Let us go back before modern day history or even ancient history. Let us go back pre-history, even before humans existed on Earth. And then keep going back to a period before any life existed on Earth. Imagine, if you will, The sound of wind rolling over the planet. The wind moves through the ocean, causing eruptions that create land masses. Now imagine a single cell dropped from the wind into the waters. From that single cell, another cell comes forth. As these two cells separate, they again divide into four single cells. Then these four cells become eight, and soon they multiply. And soon there are multiple cells. These multiple cells begin to join together to form multiple cell organisms that then become sea creatures. Now imagine one of these sea creatures becomes curious about the land masses. So this one learns to breathe air and become a land creature. Now the story continues, but we are certain you are familiar with the evolution to humans as you know them today. Let us think back to that first single cell and let us call it a soul, or a part of prime spirit, or if you prefer, God. Let us say the single soul cell became curious and pulled away from God to explore this emerging planet. Or if you prefer, you can say God sent the single soul cell to explore this planet. Does this not then explain that all are from this single cell? If so, does this not then make everyone your twin flame? Phillip says, no, it may, but there is more to consider here. Not all humans on this planet Earth came through the evolution we just explained. There are those who have, of course, and they may recognize one another. The closer they were to evolving from the original cell, the more they are likely to recognize their twin flame. However, as we just stated, there are humans who were placed here from other sources rather than from Earth's evolution. They may come from other solar systems or even other dimensions not yet explored by Earth's people. They may come from places that have been destroyed. They may come as aggressors to destroy, or they may come as peacemakers, or they may come to lift the planet to a higher vibration. They may come through the birth of human parents. If so, they may not recognize their origin. However, they may recognize those others from the same origin. They may be drawn to one another and believe they are twin souls or twin flames. May we also suggest you read from the book you hold about bonds. This will give further explanation for twin souls and soulmate. Now, Phillip has our final paragraph to read, but let me just switch books. This is one of my books, The Found Child. And in here, for those of you who haven't read it, I don't want to go into a long explanation, but let's just say the main character, there's Phillip, there's Diana, and there's a little boy, Davy. Diana goes through, with Phillip as her guide, goes through what happens before life and after death and before we come back into life, and meets soulmates, et cetera, et cetera. But this I wanted to read because this is talking about soulmates, but it's talking about bonds. It's talking about nucleus beings with soul family, with bonds and double bonds. And I just want to explain that this is more about what we're thinking about when we think about twin souls, because we're thinking about those soulmates who are closer than the broader arena of soulmates. And we talk here now about nuclear beings within our soul families and double bonds. Double bonds? Yes, double bonds. Everyone within a soul family is bonded, basically, and that's very basically. It's fundamentally attractive forces that bind souls, much like chemical bonds where atoms and ions bond in a molecule. These bonds, although strong, can be broken. Double bonds are stronger. These bonds are found among certain members within soul families, and although stretched, are seldom broken. In your world, two souls may choose to form a double bond, using each other to help them grow into their greatest potential. There is a great danger in this journey. These pairs may also bring out the other's most horrendous faults and spend lifetimes correcting their errors. Are these soulmates? I ask. Usually these are twin souls who at one time were created as one and then decided to split into two entities who then formed a double bond. Or they may be two souls who spent many lives together and chose to double bond. Soulmates are any members of your soul family with whom you decide to come together in order to work through specific issues for the growth of both souls. In my world, we're changing the meaning, I said. Yes, but not entirely. It can still be a very romantic relationship, but that's not the only relationship soulmates have. Like double bonded souls, soulmates manifest in a variety of different roles and genders. Are nucleus beings double bonded? I asked. Nucleus beings are at least triple bonded, Phillip said. The nucleus beings of each soul family are triple bonded to the nucleus beings of every other soul family throughout the universes. Phillip could see that I was having trouble wrapping my mind around what he was saying, so he gave me more explanation. Imagine a small circle within a large circle. Everyone within the circle is related. One soul family, the smaller circle being the nucleus of that family. Now imagine several additional large circles, all with the smaller nucleus circle. Draw a line from one nucleus to another, and then add a third nucleus, and so on. So the lines among the nucleus of each soul family begin to cross and come back on themselves. But as you can see, all the small circles connect, even though the larger circles do not meet. So this is how we're all connected through the nucleus beings, I said. Yes, that and you're all made out of the same matter. But this is another matter, Phillip said and laughed at his own joke. It's also mind-boggling, I said. Are there other bonds? Yes, the number is much higher. Your scientists have discovered quadruple, quintuple, and sextuple bonds, I believe. But they aren't quite sure how they all work. They'll discover another bond soon, but still they have a ways to go before discovering or fully understanding bonds. Suffice to say, all you need to be concerned with are double and triple bonds. That's all I'm going to read because I don't want to take too much time. My books are available on Amazon.com. Please feel free to buy them. All right, here's Phillip's last paragraph then. We wish to remind you that soulmates and twin souls always come together for the purpose of reminding each other of what life is about, the adventure of love in all its glory. This reminder to one another may come in delight or in pain. Most likely it will come with both. Ooh. You know, there's always so much in these messages. So I am so grateful that you give me these questions. And if you have a question, I do ask that it be general, not just very specific to your life, but be general of interest to all of our listeners and viewers. And thank you for the questions. You can just post them below. You can email me. Just let me know what your questions are. And we put them in the queue and we get to them. And we'll have some more. I think next week is on things like, are there evil spirits, and more on angels. So we'll look at that a little more in depth next week. Jody, just missed you. No, Jody, you caught me just in time. So good to have you with us today, you and Wendy. And again, to everyone who likes to come on in the afternoon and is used to me coming on in the afternoon, I apologize for coming on so early today, but I have a meeting and couldn't be both places at once. I know there are those who can bifurcate and be in two places at the same time. I've not learned how to do that. Shall we get our message? We just flip through, and whatever page we're supposed to open on opens. I'm having a little trouble figuring out if it's right or left, but I'm leaning toward right. Now, if you got right, you're probably leaning intuitively in the same direction I am. But if you got left, and again, it's a little difficult today. But the left is certainly a message. If you got left, that's a message for you. Absolutely. So here we go for the right. That which you create in thought is multiplied and returned to you. What a lovely message. That which you create in thought is multiplied and returned to you. Friends, when I feel fear, and I do, I'm human, and I have those human emotions. And honestly, I don't want to take all those human emotions away. I like those human emotions. And so when I feel fear, though, and I don't want to stay there, what I do is I just simply say over and over, I choose love. I choose love. I choose love. So I just keep saying that until I finally feel love, and the fear dissipates. And then I can go look at the fear once it dissipates a bit without fear. I can look through the fear without fear and work it through and say, what was that fear about? And sometimes it's just, the fear of a deer running out in front of my car. And sometimes maybe I need to look at that. And if I can tell myself I feel love, I can slow down, and maybe even put the brakes on right before the deer appears. So and then I can look at, okay, what does deer mean? Which is that gentleness, and that we always get to look at what the fear was about. But remember, there's fear, there's love. Basically, that's it. Everything comes out of one of those. So that which you create in thought is multiplied and returned to you. So think of that which you want: love, abundance, happiness, joy. On the other side, on the left side, it says discouragement is the creator of defeat. Discouragement is the creator of defeat. And if we think about the message on the right, it really also pertains to that message on the left, that when we get discouraged, we are creating defeat. So when we get discouraged, look at it, change it to love, walk through it, see why we were discouraged. I am not advocating suppressing emotions. I'm advocating dealing with them until you can look at them and walk through them. And that's simply why I choose love. And often it's like the child who is asleep and sees the scary people in the closet, or the monster in the drape, and the parent goes in, or the grandparent or the guardian goes in and comforts that child and says, look, it's not real, it's an illusion. And that's the truth of many of our fears. And if we counter that fear with love, that may be all we have to do. So keep in mind that discouragement is the creator of defeat, but that which you create in thought is multiplied and returned to you. So this week, let's practice compassion, love. Let's practice abundance so we can be generous with those who are in need of help. And most of all, let's practice love for ourselves, because that's where we got to start, my friends. Thank you for being with me today. I am so grateful for all of you coming and for all of you coming back. And I love those of you who come on live. And again, I apologize for it. I usually come on around 2 or 3 in the afternoon, somewhere in that period of time. And I'll try to get back to that schedule. Today wouldn't allow me to do that. So I love all of you. Thank you for loving me. Be safe. Stay healthy. Thank you for receiving this love. Until next week.